Ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So good afternoon, iLeap Club members, facilitator, and our honorable guest today, Mr. Mohit Masand. My name is Tanuja. I'm very pleased to be the I-Chair for this meeting. So as a chairperson, my duty is to ensure that the meeting is being conducted according to the agenda and that the members uphold the values of the club. To conduct the meeting effectively, I have a team of 4 people: the I-Timer, the I-Grammarian, the I-Filler Counter, and the I-Finds Master. And next, I would like to introduce them. So first up, I would like to call upon our I-Grammarian, who will be Nitin.
Good afternoon, Chair and iLeap Club members and a special guest. My name is Nitin. I am pleased to be the I-Grammarian for this meeting. As the I-Grammarian, my job is to pay attention to your vocabulary, grammar, idioms, phrase used during the meeting. I will submit a report at the end of the meeting. I am privileged to give 3 points to any one person or share it among the members who have used some exceptional language in this meeting.
Hi, Nitin.
Hi.
Thank you, Nitin. Next up, I would like to call our I-Filler Counter, who is Mayura I.
Good afternoon, Chair, iLeap Club members, and our guests. My name is Mayura I, and I'm very pleased to be the I-Filler Counter for this meeting. So as the I-Filler Counter, I will take note of your filler words such as so, you know, and right, as well as subject repetitions used by the speakers. And I will also report at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mayura I. Next, we have our I-Timer, who is Mayura B.
Good afternoon, Chair, iLeap Club members, and our special guest. My name is Mayura B. I'm very pleased to be the I-Timer for this meeting. As the I-Timer, I will record your main activities during the meeting. I'll show 1 finger 15 seconds before your allocated time, 2 fingers at the end of the allocated time, and 3 fingers if you continue to go more than 15 seconds of your allocated time. I will present a report at the end of the meeting.
Okay, thank you, Mayura.
Hi.
And lastly, we have our I-Finds Master, who's Ashwin.
Good afternoon, Chair and iLeap Club members. My name is Ashwin, and I'm very pleased to be your I-Finds Master for this session. In my role as the I-Finds Master, I'll take note of your mistakes made during the meeting. I'm privileged to give 3 points to anyone who or share among members who behaved exceptionally well and followed the iLeap Club rules during the session. I'll give a report at the end of the meeting.
Hi, Ashwin.
Hi.
Okay, so today's meeting theme is effective marketing. The meeting today is divided into the following 8 sections: our guest speaker, prepared speeches, prepared presentations, I think on my feet, case study, I quiz, I story and joke, and lastly, evaluations. So without further ado, let's get this meeting started.
Thank you so much, Tanuja.
You're welcome. Have you ever had a great idea for a product but didn't know how to market your brand? Now, marketing isn't as simple as you may think it is, which is why we have our special guest here with us today who is an expert on this topic. It is my pleasure to introduce you all today to Mr. Mohit Masand, a multilingual mortgage professional.
Thank you.
While studying at the Mundra Institute of Communication to earn a certificate in Management Marketing Communications, Mohit won the Best Student of the Year award, as well as the silver medal for his excellent academic performance. Moving on to his career, he used his skills and knowledge to develop around 65 compelling marketing campaigns, worked with more than 250 international clients, and wrote content for around 100 different websites and over 1,000 articles and blogs. Currently, Mohit is an independent mortgage specialist with DLC Affinity Mortgage Solutions. Here, he takes on the role of marketing his services, broker mortgages, as well as managing a team of mortgage experts, where he offers continuous training and mentorship to his team. On the side, Mohit volunteers with various institutions and colleges and conducts workshops and training sessions on such topics such as Marketing 101, online marketing, blogging, content marketing, social media marketing, and sales. I know he has a packed schedule for us today, so without further ado, can we all give another warm welcome of applause to Mr. Mohit Masand.
Thank you.
The floor is yours.
Thank you, Tanuja. I will quickly share my screen so you guys can see my presentation. Can you see it?
Yes, Mohit.
Awesome. We'll make it full screen. Perfect. Thank you so much for the introduction. I am extremely excited to be in front of you, and I'm not saying it for the sake of it. I don't say it to everybody, but I take guest sessions. Like Tanuja mentioned, I volunteer with a lot of institutions, and I take guest sessions with, let's say, students who are pursuing their bachelor's or students who are doing their postgraduate diploma. I've even talked to MBA students. But this is my first time talking to an audience as young as all of you. And what really excites me about it is I know for a fact that you, as you know, your age group is the most receptive to new ideas. So whatever that I plan to kind of share with you today, I am sure that you're not only going to absorb it, but you're going to use it too. And what made me even more excited about talking to you was when I saw all of you, talk about your roles and the introduction that you gave me. I was so impressed because when you think of younger kids, you're like, okay, they'd be nice, they'd be smart, but you guys are maybe at the same pedestal as some of the bachelor's or even master's students that I've spoken with. So uh, you kind of introduced me, but let me give you a round of applause. All of you, I'm so impressed with you, and everyone who spoke before me, I was getting nervous because, people were talking about catching mistakes and, you have to be on time. And I was like, wow, because if you're doing it for each other, I'm sure you're doing that for me as well. So when you write that report of yours, you're like, oh, this guy used a lot of kind of, because I do that from time to time when I don't know what my next thought is going to be. I was like, oh, kind of. And I'm sure that's going to be in your report. So I'll have to be careful of that. And I'm already trying to do that. If you notice, I'm slowed down to make sure that I don't have any ahs and oohs and kind ofs when I'm talking to you. And I'm making as few errors as possible. So coming back to our topic, Marketing 101. What I basically want to cover, and I know a little bit about all of you. I talked to Anu, and all of you seem to have ideas, business plans of, let's say, products or services, and you want to be leaders, or even if you want to proceed and, let's say, join a company. It is always great to know about the basics of marketing. Now, everyone says this about their field, but I feel that marketing is the fulcrum of any business, which means it gives any business the balance that it needs, because it is extremely holistic. And it's very important for anyone, regardless of the field that you are in, to learn about marketing, to have some basic understanding of marketing. And that's what we are going to do. We're going to address 2 or 3 different topics today. And we'll talk about the basics of those topics and how they'll help you when you market your products or services, or when you join another company and take up a leadership role with them. So first up, the first topic that I wanted to talk to you about was the marketing mix. So as the name suggests, these are all the things that a marketer is supposed to do. All those important things that as a marketing manager, or as even someone who oversees marketing or collaborates with the marketing department, needs to know of. Now, if you don't mind, would you guys, anyone who has an idea, would you want to share what you think would be the 7 most important aspects of marketing? As a marketer or as someone who collaborates with the marketing department, what are those 7 most important things that you do? I see someone is raising their hand. I'm sorry, I don't see your name here. Go ahead. You can start. Who is it? Tanuja?
The actual product itself.
the product itself. Awesome. And why would you say that? Why would you think product is a part of marketing?
Because like the whole point, I guess, of marketing is to market the product and get your product out there.
Sure, sure. Awesome. That's a good idea. Mayura.
I'm gonna go. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
I guess, yes, you.
there's two. Sorry. Knowing your target audience.
Amazing. Knowing your target audience. It was in my agenda too. Thank you. Anyone else?
Ashwin has his hand.
Ashwin, go ahead.
Advertisement.
Advertisement, promotions. Good. Thank you. Mayura B. Look, I'm getting a hang of it now.
You are.
Making sure that the advertisement suits the target audience.
Making sure the advertisement suits the target audience. Absolutely. That's a great point. Anyone else? That's it, I guess, right? I'm not missing anybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
one's
Mayura
covered.
again. Mayura I, right?
Yes, I'm a your eye.
Yes. Go ahead.
I'll put that in later. Sorry. Just making sure your advertisements are visually pleasing, I guess. Like it's aesthetically pleasing. The colors fit together.
Awesome. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, you covered most of it. Tanuja, go ahead.
I was going to say the pricing of your product.
Amazing. The pricing of your product. Yes. Anybody else? I keep swapping my screen just to make sure that I'm not missing anybody here.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
think
so
anyone else.
that's about it, I guess, right?
Mhm.
You guys covered most of it, and I'm so impressed with it. So here are the 7 P's of marketing, and let me see if I can move my screen so you guys can see. So if you pursue marketing, so let's say when you're doing your bachelor's and if you're going to read marketing, or if you are doing your MBA or you're specializing in marketing, there's this one author who is extremely popular, and his name is Philip Kotler. Has anyone heard of him? Philip Kotler is an extremely popular marketing author, and regardless of whether you are studying marketing at the bachelor's level or you're doing your MBA specializing in marketing, everyone starts with reading Philip Kotler. And I did my marketing in India, and I have friends who've done it here, and all of us have still read Philip Kotler. That's how popular he is. And in his book, he talked about marketing mix, and he said that there are 4 P's of marketing. And over a period of time, because when he made that theory, it was a few years ago, over a period of time when people started executing it, they said that we wanted to kind of expand that mix, increase that list, and have more elements to the marketing mix. It's instead of just the 4. So according to Philip Kotler, the 4 P's of marketing were price, place, product, and promotion. And then people have gone on to add people, positioning, packaging. I'll talk to you about each one of them. And there could be more than this. So no one really today is an authority on what should be the ideal marketing mix. It depends on your product. It depends on your service. It depends on your target market. This is just a general guideline of the things that you should care about. And then you can always add and subtract things depending on what you think best fits your needs. So let's just talk about each one of them quickly. Price, someone said price is very important. It exactly is. And it ties into the third one, the product. So like Tanuja said, a lot of people think, as a marketer, why do I care about product? I do care about product because ultimately that's what I'm selling. If you follow any sport, most of the sports, they'd say, team games I'm talking about, they'll say, oh, the captain is so important and the captain decides the fate of a team. And the captain always says, I'm only as good as the team is. Or if you've got an amazing captain for any team, but the team isn't great, then do you think they have the chance of winning? Maybe the captain will increase their likelihood, but it doesn't mean that they'll win all games. So that's what happens with product as well. As a marketer, you have grassroots level information. And when I say grassroots level information, you are directly dealing with your target audience. You're talking to the customers, you are communicating with them, you're doing your research, you're reading all these studies. And that's how you should always be in a position to contribute to the product department, which is separate, to be able to contribute to them information and feed them with knowledge about what the customers are looking for. in today's times where technology is becoming so important, there is this new term that has come up. It's called MVP, which is minimum viable product. So what companies and startups have started doing is that they'll make a basic product with just the basic minimum features and characteristics, launch it in the market, and then sell it to the customers.
Did he freeze for you guys?
He's frozen for me.
Yeah, he's frozen.
And then the marketing department, as and when they get feedback from the customers, add or to be small at the outset, give the customers just that very thing that they're looking for, and then over a period of time go from there.
Sorry, Mohit, you did a freeze for a few seconds when you
Can
were
you hear
talking
me
about
now?
minimum viable product.
Is it
Yeah,
better
I
now?
can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm saying is that what these technology companies are doing is they're launching small, they're just introducing just the very basic features, and then based on customer feedback, they're adding on top of those features. So it's always best to start just very, very small, and then the product department and the marketing department would collaborate to figure out what features are best suited to your target market. Uh, Now the price, similar to the product, it's the price that you need to know of as well, and you need to give feedback to customers or to your department. Because ultimately, here's the thing: there are certain things that I think is not valuable, or that price is not good for that product, but you may think it's good. And we see that a lot. I see that a lot of you, maybe second generation Canadians or third generation Canadians, and you'd see that in your parents and grandparents when they've come from their home country, their understanding of value for a product versus your understanding of value for that same product is different. While you might think, oh, this is great, good product, your parents or grandparents would be like, you know what, back home, I'll get it for like 10% of the price. I guess all of you would agree with that.
He's frozen again.
again. Yeah, he
Yeah.
froze.
I think he's having some internet issues. I'm texting him.
Okay, I froze again for a second, I guess. Am I good now?
Yes, you are.
Sorry,
So you were at price.
there's construction going on here, and
Okay.
the internet has been a little crappy since, because I don't know, because of all the digging and stuff maybe.
Okay.
So my apologies. So price basically, what I wanted to say is, the value that different people derive is different, and you have to see what value is your target audience expecting. Oh, I think all of you would find value in my product, but you're not my target audience. Your parents are. Then I need to adjust my price accordingly. And that's why, again, the marketing department feeds that information into the finance department and helps them get a right price for that product. Promotion. A lot of people tend to think that promotion is the only thing that a marketing person is supposed to do, but it's just one of the many things that you do. So promotion, again, how are you going to reach out to your customers? How is your ad going to be aesthetic enough? And all of those things. People are very important. Target market, not just now people are talking about external marketing and internal marketing. And what I mean by that is external marketing is the marketing as you know it, where you're, advertising and branding and blogging and all of that stuff. But you have to also market your product to your team. They should be as convinced and as excited about the product or service as you are yourself. I worked for a company where I wasn't excited about the product, and I was selling the product for them. I was the account manager for one territory, and it wasn't a great idea because I should be convinced about it to be able to market it to other people. And that's why people are important, not just your target audience, but also your employees. Then positioning. What I mean by positioning is where you want to be in the minds of the customer. Marketing is a lot about mind games. When I say value, what holds value to you versus what holds value to other people is different. I'll give you an example. I used to, when I started my first job, I used to sell photocopiers. And with that photocopier used to be $7,000. And with that photocopier used to be a software that we could sell as an add-on, which was $1,000. So if I was to sell the package, it was $8,000. So I went into this company once and they already had a photocopier. However, I saw that they had a bunch of paper and I was like, where is all this paperwork coming from? And they said, oh, we have been storing paper since 1970 and now we don't know what to do. Maybe we'll hire 2 or 3 people just to scan this paper and name it properly and store it on the cloud. And instantly it struck me, why don't I sell them this software, but it wouldn't go without the machine, right? So in that case, I sold them the software and I told them, you know what, the software is worth $8,000 and they got it. I'm trying to switch my internet here. If you guys can give me a second. Could you hear me when I was talking about the software?
Yeah, we could hear you, but your video kept getting frozen.
Yeah, this construction, I'll just data here. I think that'll be easier. So that'll be more consistent. Awesome. So what I was saying is, I told them, and we used to do a lease. So it was used to be 5-year lease. I told them, you know what, I have a great software for you that I can sell to you for $150 a month. But because I like you, you are good customers, I'll give you the photocopier for free. Now look at this. The photocopier is $7,000. The software is $1,000. But I'm now selling the software for $8,000, giving it more value because that's what my customer wants. So that is positioning. How do you want to position yourself as compared to the competition? So let's say, just take 2 examples, price and quality. So you have Loblaws. Let's say you're doing grocery. So Loblaws is high price, high quality. Then you have Walmart somewhere in between. Then you have No Frills somewhere around there. And let's say if you wanted to expand that and look at, let's say, Dollarama, you are like low quality, low price, right? So that is their positioning. If I wanted to launch a grocery store or a supermarket today, I'll have to look at it and I'll say, oh, this region looks very, very populated because you have a lot of high price, high quality. You have mid price, mid quality, low price, low quality. Where do I fit myself? Can I maybe come up with low price, high quality? And maybe I find a niche for myself. That is positioning. And there are graphs that you can make and decide where you want your product or service to be. And eventually packaging. Ultimately, if you are selling a product, your package should look good because otherwise people wouldn't be attracted to it. Have you noticed when you go to the supermarket or a mall, you buy something because you just think it looks amazing. Maybe you don't even need it, but the packaging is so attractive that you buy it. That's where packaging is important. And if you're selling a service or you're marketing a service, then you, sorry to say, are the experience or the package, because how the office looks, excuse me, or how your website looks, or how are you dressed when you're going to sell or market, that all adds to the experience, and that's packaging when you're selling services. So those are the 7 P's of marketing. If anyone has questions, you can ask me, or you can hold it till the end of the session. The next one is segmentation and targeting. I already have the definition there for you. Basically, I talked about people and your market. So market segmentation is the process. This is a definition I picked up from the website, and then we'll discuss about it. Is a process of dividing a market of potential customers into groups or segments. So basically segmentation is dividing a market of potential customers. That's the first thing. And what are you dividing them into? You're dividing them into groups or segments and based on different characteristics. So you're putting people with similar characteristics in one group, and then you're dividing the entire market into different groups based on those characteristics. The segments created are composed of consumers who will respond similarly to marketing strategies and who share traits such as similar interests, needs, or locations. Choosing the segment that you want to ultimately work with is your targeting. And I'll give you an example, so don't be overwhelmed by the definition. Basically, segmentation is segmenting your audience, and targeting is picking 1 or 2 of those segments that you want to work with. Okay? So let's look at this. Now, I want to segment my market for I am in the mortgage business, right? So who gets mortgages? People who are buying houses or people who are refinancing their houses. So I look at type of mortgages. Now, this is just based on the audience. So this is potential audience, people who are looking for a mortgage right now. This is the entire pie, the entire section, right? And then that's divided into first-time home buyers, which is 37% of the market today. Vacation home buyers, people who are buying cottages or buying vacation homes, just 5% of the market. Investment property, people who are buying a property to rent out, 26%. People who are just saying, oh, I have a mortgage, but I'll switch to another vendor for a better rate, 11%. And people who are refinancing, saying, you know what, I have a mortgage of 500, I'll add and I'll take out equity. You might have heard that term. And now I'll use 600 or 700 mortgage. That's 21%. So that is how my potential market looks like. I cannot work with everybody. Sorry. I cannot work with everybody here. So I pick targets. And my best target market right now is first-time home buyers and investment property buyers. I'll tell you why. For someone to be successful with vacation home buyers, one, it's a very small market. So I don't find it very attractive, and it's very difficult for me to catch hold of them. There's not much volume. It's just 5%. Then the market that wants to switch their mortgage or want to refinance that mortgage, most of them continue to work with the people that they worked first up. So let's say your parents got a mortgage with TD Bank. When their mortgage renewal is up, they'll go back to TD Bank. So it's very hard for me to just pitch in and say, I want to steal that business. I'd never say no to that business, but that's not what I actively market to. I actively market to first-time home buyers. And the reason for that is, one, it's a very big chunk. So even if I got a small chunk of it, it gives me decent volume. And second, the age group. Most of the first-time home buyers are between 25 and 40. And that's the age group that I'm in as well. So it's easier for me to relate to them. It's easier for me to work with them. And then a byproduct of that is also investment property buyers, because the people I helped buy in the first place, if they're buying an investment property, I can help them too. So that's what I market to. So my two markets are first-time home buyers and investment property buyers. Did you see how I segmented first and then targeted? Guys, you can ask me questions along the way if you have any, okay? Now, once I have my target market booked, then I'm dividing that further now. So what kind of first-time and investment property buyers do I have? So 60% of them are Canadian residents. So they're either PR holders or they are citizens. 35% are new to Canada. So they're either on work permit or international students or just new PR. And 5% of them are non-residents. So while I do get a lot of business from Canadian residents and non-residents, my major target market here that I reach out to is new to Canada. Can you guess why? Because I have an accent. And when people are new to Canada, they find me less intimidating. Imagine you moving to a new country, and then you have someone who's speaking fluently in the accent of the new country, and you are just new to the place, you're overwhelmed with new information anyway. You feel so intimidated because you suddenly think, oh, this guy knows too much, maybe he can or she can cheat me. But with me, they'd never feel intimidated, and they can express their opinions, ask questions, and put their foot forward or put their foot down if they have to, right? So this new to Canada segment loves to work with me, and I love to work with them. So that's one of my target markets here. So even with new to Canada, or my target market, what are the age groups that people work with? 18 to 30, 30 to 45, 45 to 60, 60 plus. I work with mostly 30 to 45 because these are people who are moving new to Canada. And these are the people who relate with me best. I, in fact, even say 25 to 45. People who are younger than 25, sometimes it can be harder because just I'm not that older than a person who's, let's say, 24. But the fact is, today technology has changed so fast that it can sometimes be difficult to, be on the same page with a person who's that much younger than you. So I tend to kind of work with mostly 25 to 45 kind of an audience. So you see how I'm segmenting my target market, and then I'm kind of targeting. And that's so important. If you could just do this, there could be an entire department that is just doing this, segmenting and targeting. Because one wrong target and it doesn't work for you. Let's say you're talking of promotions and you're saying, I want to create an advertising campaign, and someone can help me if someone wants to volunteer. As a mortgage person, I want to create an ad, right? Can you tell me what should be the concept of my ad? You can give me a tagline or any just concept in 3 or 4 words. What should be the concept of my ad? What should I say? Anyone? You can just unmute yourself and talk because I can't see all of you.
By concept, do you mean like tagline?
Yeah, basically, what should I say in my ad? It could be tagline. It could be anything that you can think of. Anyone? Any idea?
Selling dreams.
Sorry, what's that, Anu, again?
Very cheesy tagline. Selling dreams.
Selling
Dream
dreams.
homes.
Exactly.
Dream homes.
But
Or
here's the thing.
I've seen those taglines. I don't think I really catch. Maybe those are taglines you should not use.
Exactly. Thank you. And I'll tell you why. Because they're generic. I'm not targeting my audience. Let's say from what I told you about my audience, that these are people new to Canada, younger people who are maybe buying their first home. You want to tell them things that make them feel comfortable.
Making Canada your new home, or making
Exactly.
Toronto your
And
new home.
RBC ads, puts up advertisements for newcomers, not just for mortgages, but for their banking products too. And they do it so well, and they do it in different languages. All of those things you talked about, promotion and advertising, and the language you use, how you make it look aesthetic. It's all based on your target audience. What looks aesthetic to someone new to Canada would be different than what looks aesthetic to someone who's been here for a while or someone who was born here, because our idea of beauty is different, our idea of good is different, right? Our expectations are different. Now, any one of you listens to like South Asian radio sometimes when you're in the car? Have you ever? Some of you have, right?
Yeah,
you would have seen those TELUS ads or Rogers ads that are basically just translated word to word from English to different vernacular languages. Have you heard that? I think they are so cringy, because what you're saying is an expression in English, which translated is grammatically all right, but it's not making sense to me in my language. So I would say, and a lot of people now, let's say Rogers, you'd not believe, has a complete department for ethnic marketing. Can you believe that? So now people are now understanding that if I have that segment, I need to attract. And I'm not just talking about ethnic. I'm just talking about it because that's my market. But it could be anybody. I want to target it that way. Walmart, let's say when all these protests happened in the States, a lot of companies that target that audience came out in support of the protest, and they spoke up. And the reason for that was because that was their target audience, and they wanted to make the target audience feel that the brand is on their side. You always want to come across as you are on your customer's side, and that's only when you know your target audience. So that was the second element. We talked about the marketing mix. We talked about segmenting and targeting. And other segments, like I said, could also be the type of property people are purchasing or the kind of services they required. Which city are they in? Because if I was marketing on Facebook, Facebook asks me, where do you want to market? And then I have to think to myself, where is my target market? Do I market to all of Canada? I'd be bankrupt by the end of it. I don't have that much money. Or do I market to just Ontario? Even that will be expensive. So then I start picking my audience. So I started by picking, let's say, Toronto. And Toronto is good because it's extremely diverse. It was working, sometimes it wasn't. But what worked best for me was York region, because even at this point, real estate and mortgage business is considered to be old school. So as soon as someone sees my ad, the next thing they want to see is where is my office located? Although during the pandemic, I'm not even meeting them anymore. All my meetings are happening over Zoom, but they wanted to see where my office is. And as soon as they saw my office is like 40, 50 kilometers away, they were like, okay, I'm not interested. Right? So things like that, you have to think of them. And that's where segmenting and targeting comes in. Now, the last part of the presentation is media planning. I'll tell you the definition and then we can chat about it. I'd love for you to tell me what you think about it, your thoughts. Media planning is the process of identifying and selecting media outlets, which could be like newspapers, magazines, websites, TV, radio stations, outdoor placements. Where do you place your ads? I'd say this definition is a little flawed, although I picked it up from a source. I'd say not just paid advertisements, but unpaid advertisements as well, which is called public relations. It's not on my agenda today, but basically that's also a component of your media planning. So what media planning is, and there's an entire department that that's dedicated to media planning. And when you have your product or service, or you're making your marketing plan for your business, you need to think of media planning. Let's say today, and this was a project I did as well, a few days back. I gave you, when you're doing your marketing management, that's the flaw with institutions. What they'll tell you is, you had $1 million today. Where would you invest your $1 million if you wanted to advertise and market a product? And you know why I think that is flawed? Because we've all done those projects. Why it is flawed is because when you really start working for small businesses, or you have your own business, your budget is not $1 million. When I market, my budget is $1,000, $1,500, $5,000, $10,000 if I'm extremely lucky. But $1 million, can't even think of it, right? So, but here's the thing. But my media planning is for you to be able to market your product successfully and reach out to the target market within your budget, right? So there is an AIDA model. It's called awareness, interest, desire, and action. You should note it down. Awareness, interest, desire, and action. So what that basically means is that your customers go through that cycle. Once they're aware, then there is interest, there is desire, there's action. So let's say if Coke is marketing, Coke already has the awareness. Everyone knows about Coke. Coke already have people interested. Everyone is interested in, people who want to drink Coke, doesn't matter. So why would they advertise? They still advertise because they want to create the desire and action, because it's an impulse buy product, because it's cheaper, right? It's, how much would you spend on buying a Coke? So it's, when you see an ad and you're like, oh, it's great. I just go buy a Coke. I feel like having a Coke today, because they are instigating that desire in you. But if I was marketing my mortgage services, I'm always making people aware. And maybe if I'm lucky, I'm taking them to the level of interest. Desire and action happens afterwards, because if they're not aware of me, how would I take them to interest, desire, and action? That's what media does. You have to understand where is your product in the AIDA model, and then, pick your media and pick your ads accordingly. So when we say media outlets, what are the media outlets that all of you are aware of? Where do you think can I market my product for a cost or for free? Go ahead, Mayura I.
There's social medias like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok.
Awesome. Okay.
Jack.
Great. Tanuja?
I was gonna say like old school, like radios, newspapers, TV ads.
Yeah, old school is good. Old school is never bad. Thank you, Tanuja. Anyone else? Okay, I'm not missing anybody ever. No, I'm not. Okay.
Sindhuja actually has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Maybe
And then
like,
Mayura, you're next.
maybe like outside in public, like with, like real estate, when they put up those signs to sell houses, like
Awesome.
they can put those signs
Awesome.
up.
It is, yeah, brilliant thought. Thank you. Mayura, I?
I've seen other companies kind of combine, like you can put an ad on a Coke bottle or put an ad on a roll of toilet paper,
Co-branding. Awesome.
like
Awesome.
household items.
Yes, co-branding. Nitin, go ahead.
They can use like billboards. On the
Billboards,
street.
yes. Yes, great. Amazing. What else? Awesome. So you came up with some great points there. So I tell you which ones could I think of, and then we can maybe even add to the list. You can advertise in TV, radio, newspaper, magazine, right? So all of that is old school, but it still works. However, they can be expensive, right? Advertising on television or radio or newspaper can be prohibitively expensive. So you have to have some budget if you want to market there, because they give you the reach as well. Then you have magazine ads, because magazines could be relatively cheaper because you can pick niche magazines, the magazines that address your target audience. So if I wanted to market, I wouldn't market in, let's say, a Cosmopolitan, would I? I wouldn't market that. Maybe market in some real estate magazines, right? Then you have Google pay-per-click. Has anyone heard of Google pay-per-click? No one? Google pay-per-click is, let's say you search for something. Let's say you're searching for schools in Markham. When you search for anything, have you seen that ads come up? There are ads and then there are the actual results.
Yeah.
Those ads are Google pay-per-click. So what I do in that case is I tell Google that these are the search words, they call it keywords, that I want to address. So Google has this entire platform, because I advertise on Google too. Google has this entire platform where you can, they have done all their research. So that will tell you how much searches happen for certain key phrases, what is the kind of competition for that phrase, and things like that. So you can think of it. A lot of people, what they like now, specialists in Google pay-per-click, is they call it long-tailed keywords. And what I mean by long-tailed keywords are like, if I wanted to advertise myself, I wouldn't say mortgage specialist. Because if someone was to search for mortgage specialist and it's like across the world, it's going to be so expensive because there's going to be so much competition. Although there'll be more volume, but there'll be so much competition, I wouldn't be seen in there. But if I was to say mortgage specialist in Markham, now this is a long-tailed keyword because I'm providing more subjectivity to it. So my volume will go down, but the competition will as well. And then I'll stand out in there because I'll be among 2 or 3 people who are marketing for, let's say, an audience of 10,000 people, versus when I'm like among 1,000 people who are marketing for a bigger audience. In the 1,000 people, you'd never be seen because there will be other people who will outbid you. Google pay-per-click is always by bidding. So that's how Google pay-per-click works. Then your social media, like Mayura said, advertising and marketing. You can advertise on social media and you can even market, where you can, become an influencer. You guys know about that more than I do. You can become an influencer. You can put posts which are shareable. Content is the king when it comes to social media. So you have to come up with things that find your audience's interest. If you were to just say, hey, I'm a mortgage specialist, call me for my service, people get sick of it because social media is not a platform for advertising. Ads separate. Obviously, when you're advertising, you advertise. But if you're putting a post, then you have to put it generic, where people like content that people are going to share. And that ultimately the organic result of that would be that people like you and then people connect with you. Then you have outdoor billboards. Nitin said that, I guess. Then we have restaurant TV screens. Have you ever seen that? You go to a restaurant, they have smaller screens where, they're playing, let's say, certain channels, but you can use that as a platform. It's not that popular here in Canada, but in India, that's the thing. You go to any restaurant and they'll be running ads on their TV screen. So that's a big potential, something that you people can introduce to the Canadian market. Although it is being used, but not as exponentially as it is in some of the other countries. You have advertising in malls. You can advertise in malls, outside of stores, or you can put up your, like they call it, the pull-up banners and all of that you can do. Or you can even take up some space. Have you seen when you go into a mall, they're doing marketing events? So that could be another platform. You can have product placement. Product placement basically is an organic way of communicating about your product. So have you seen that, in a movie, you'd see that the hero or the heroine is drinking Coke, or maybe they're driving a particular brand of car. Do you think that's for free? It's not. The brand is paid for that placement, where they are indirectly and very subtly marketing your product. So when a certain popular actor or actress uses your product, it becomes a craze, especially in today's world, where the youngsters are taking inspiration from these actors and actresses and using them as influencers. So they influence your opinions in many ways. And that's what product placement is. You can do it with shows. You can do it with online shows, maybe YouTube videos. There could be so much that you could do. Recently, I don't know if it's still out there, but search for BMW videos. What BMW started doing is they reversed the product placement idea. They are not placing their product in a movie anymore. They are building a movie around their product. So they created short movies. And this was back in 2008 and 9 when I was doing my master's, where they used to come up with movies, very, very enticing storylines, very attractive stories. But the hero of the movie was their product, was the BMW car. Because so it'll always be about, action and BMW cars spinning around and, things like that. But eventually what was being marketed was their cars. So that was another very interesting idea of marketing and advertising. Then you have brand ambassadors. All of you know that, you hire, let's say, a celebrity or an influencer to market your product. You can use social media influencers, or you can use that on TV ads, newspaper ads. All of you have seen that. And then eventually, your content becomes viral. Word of mouth marketing. That's as important as anything else. And also press releases, where you're doing something so attractive that the press, which could be bloggers or newspapers or editors, who they actually want to write about it, right? I don't know, you would have seen, oh, this particular brand launched a new store. So that's a press release. You're getting free publicity as a store. Or you do something so horrendously wrong that someone wants to cover it, because someone once said no publicity is bad publicity. As long as you can reach out to somebody, you're good. So, all of those things, these are media vehicles or outlets you can use. And I know that I'm running out of time, so I'd kind of tell you quickly about the media vehicles that I use to, just to kind of give you an idea. Mortgage vehicle, right? So I use a lot of Google pay-per-click ads. My keywords are like mortgage specialist in Markham, mortgage agent in Markham, new mortgages in Markham, mortgage refinances in Markham. So I've kind of boiled down my marketing to Markham and York region. Like I said, that happened in segmenting. Then I do Facebook and Instagram ads. And when you're doing these ads, they ask you to pick certain characteristics of your audience. You'd not know them unless you know your audience. So what is the age group that you want to reach out to? The bigger the age group, the bigger the audience, the more expensive it is. So you always have to narrow it down. My age group is always 25 to 40. Then are there any particular interests that your audience has? In my case, it isn't. I could say real estate, but not everyone who's looking for a house would, let's say I'm interested in real estate on, let's say, a Facebook or Instagram. So it doesn't work. But there could be so many other features. Do you want to attract men, women, or both? Then you say both, obviously. You pick cities. So for me, it's Markham plus minus or plus 50 kilometers. So within 50 kilometers radius of Markham. And things like that. So that I do a lot of social media advertising and marketing. I use telephone marketing a lot. That's a form of direct marketing, where I call up, referral partners, and I reach out to them, introduce them to my service, because mine is a different business. I don't need that much exposure. So at the end of the year, if I work with 35 or 40 clients, I would have done well. So I'm not like a Coke where I have to send to millions of people. So because their idea would be different, but mine is different because I don't need as much traction, right? I'm a smaller business. I do flyers. That's another form of direct marketing. And I rely a lot on word of mouth. So I've done a good job for somebody. They spread the word for me. So I kind of remember this ad when you talk about word of mouth, and I wanted to share it with you. It was a car rental company. I think it was Avis, if I remember it right. And it was back in 2000, 2001, 2002. So what they did was they were not the number one car rental company in USA, but they became second. And their ad said, now if let's say all of you, if you were giving scores, right? So someone ranked first, someone ranked second, someone ranked third, and you were aiming for that first place, would you go out and just harp about the fact that you came second and not first? You wouldn't, right? You'd be like, why do I have to harp about it? If they know about it, they know it. But I'd not go out and keep telling everybody, you know what? I didn't come first, I came second. But they did it. What they did is, we love to be number two because that makes us work harder. And that was such an amazing ad, because think of it, in the body they said, because we are not number one, we cannot take you lightly. So we always give you our best cars, the best cars. They're always the cleanest. We always have a tank full of gas. You would never be disappointed because we cannot take it easy. And I was like, I was blown away by that. Imagine you use a situation which is not necessarily positive because you wanted to be number one, you came in second, but you used it in your favor, and that created a stir. It was word of mouth then. If it was today's world of social media, it would have been viral content because everyone would be sharing it. So things like that you can do. And that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. Now, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll be very happy to chat with you guys and answer any questions.
Perfect, Mohit. I actually wanted to open the floor to the students, but I wanted to ask on behalf of the students while they try to get their head across some of the various content that you shared. If they are out there starting a small business, most with the age range that we are focused in, they go with social media. What is your number one tip with social media? I know you said Google, Google pay per clip, and then there's ads on social media, but something simplistic that they can use to maybe start off to be an influencer or start off at their age group to put their content out. What is that one simple tip that you can tell them to motivate them to say, go for it, whatever business? So let's just say a jewelry business, they start a jewelry business or a cooking business for their age group.
Right. So it's actually not one, I'm sorry, there'll be two tips I'll give them. One, that you should never, try to push your product. When you're trying to market on social media, it is always indirect, it is subtle. So you can't just go out on social media and post an ad every day, because what you'd realize is you are going to start losing your friend count, or you're going to start losing your followers on Instagram. No one wants to see an ad on their wall every day or on their feed every day. So be as indirect as possible and create content around your product. Some, like Anu said, jewelry business. So create enticing content around that product, which people would like. And the second tip would be, today is the world of video. If you are especially targeting people of your age and even slightly older, it's back in the day, people used to write blogs. For people like me, I still like reading blogs. But today, if you wanted to start up on social media, I'd say start with videos, and you could create content around your product or service, and start reaching out. And you know what? It is so easy. All you need is your phone these days, and all of you even have free editing apps on your phone or on your computer, on the web, etc. It's so easy for you to create a high quality video that is so easy to share for everybody, and reach out. And I'd say, again, don't go out and say, hey, I started my jewelry business. Maybe you can do that for the first video, but after that, it's going to be more about how you build content around that, right? It could even be a short video. Hey, I'm so excited, I got my new consignment today, look at all these pieces I have. I'm excited to share it with you. Or, hey, I'm at my friend's wedding and look at how tacky that jewelry is. This is my idea. So you become an influencer, an opinion leader, where people now look up to you for opinion. And that's where subtly you're also promoting your product or service. I don't know if that makes sense, Anu.
Yeah, that definitely does. It definitely makes sense. Why don't I open the floor to the rest? I think you're sharing your screen. Maybe if you
I'll stop sharing, yes.
Then we can see the full view of all the students.
Exactly.
So guys, there's been a lot of content, and we had David Kwok come here and talk to you guys about entrepreneurship, and he showed you design ideas, how to build your designs and all that. Now this is more so focused on, Mohit talked about marketing. So I'm opening the floor to all of you to ask questions based on what content was shared. Anyone wants to go with your questions? Yeah, Mayura?
This is a bit of a basic question, but I was just confused about one part of your thing. I don't really know what refinancing is, so if you'd explain just a little of that.
Sure. So refinancing basically is when, let's say I got a mortgage for $500,000, and 2 years later I want more money. So what basically that means is refinance my mortgage, and instead of 500, now it's 600. So I'll have to go back to the bank and re-qualify for that and get more money out. So maybe for renovations or to invest in another property and things like that.
Thank you. Yeah, that helped.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Any questions about what I shared with you? You can talk to me about your ideas, if you have any concepts, ideas, and how this relates to your idea, or if you have any questions regarding that.
Yes, Iran?
So if you have a business that's getting a couple of customers, but you aren't getting the full audience you're sending your advertisements to, how do you capture all those people instead of just getting a few of them? Like, how do you promote it?
So you're talking about targeting, is that what it is? If you
Yeah,
wanted
how
to,
do you target your audience?
how do you target your audience is, I'll tell you, there is this concept in research, and that's called hypothesis. I think anything that you want to do in life, that concept is really going to help you. And what is hypothesis? Basically, hypothesis is having assumptions about something, and then you either prove it right or you prove it wrong. And that's how you pick your audience too. As an example, my hypothesis is, when I started up, my hypothesis was that this group is going to be really smart. So at the end of it, I proved my hypothesis right. Or my hypothesis was that I'll have to maybe go slow with my content. I went wrong in that because you turned out to be smarter than I thought, to be honest with you. And then I was like, okay, I can share more. And that's why I shared more than what was there on my presentation. I said certain things that were not in my presentation because I found it smarter. So that's the thing with your audience too. So you come up with a product and say, okay, my audience is going to be people between the age group of 25 and 30, just to give you an example. But then you break it up. So what kind of other segments could the potential audience have? So 30 to 50, 50 to 70, just in the age group. And then you go out and do your research, try to sell it to other segments too, and see which one is the most prospective. Do your research online, read up about it, and see which audience buys the most. I just talked about age, but you could segment it by so many things. You could segment it by their nationality or by their interests, or by so many other things, like I did in my business. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome. Anyone else? Yes, Ashwin.
Could you repeat how everything is financially divided?
How is everything financially divided? As in, can you kind of expand on that question? What do you mean by that?
You know how you talked about the mortgages, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how
how's my audience divided? How is it segmented?
Yeah.
Sure. So I segment my audience firstly by the type of buyers. So like I told you, I work mostly with first-time home buyers. There could be multiple types, right? So it could be first-time home buyers. There could be second property buyers, vacation home buyers, people who want to refinance. So I work mostly with first-time home buyers. And then the next is, are they, I divide them by, are they new to Canada, or are they Canadian citizens, or, are they non-residents? I mostly just work with new to Canada because I told you they kind of, they find it easier to work with me. And then I also divide by the kind of properties that they're buying. I mostly deal with people who are buying, because they're first-time home buyers, they're buying smaller properties because they cannot afford bigger properties. So things like that. That's how I segment my market, if I'm answering the question that you were asking.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome.
I think Tanuja had her hand raised, and then Mayura, I.
Yes, okay. Yes, Tanuja.
Okay, so let's say you're just starting a business and you don't really have that many credentials or experience. How do you gain reliability or trust from your customers when you're selling your product?
There are multiple things, and I think it all starts by being sincere about what you want to do. Because this is something I realize, and it sounds very cliched. Everyone would say that, be sincere. But I'd give you an example. I used to meet with people and they liked me because like I told you, they found me less intimidating or whatever it is. They like to work with me. But today when I'm not even meeting them, and some people wouldn't even do a Zoom call until we are at an advanced stage of their mortgage. All they've done is they've talked to me over the phone, and then they'll go back to the referral partner and say, oh, I like Mohit. I want to work with him. He sounds very genuine. Because when you sincerely want to help and you want to, kind of satisfy a demand that's out there, or satisfy a need that's out there, you will come across as genuine and sincere. And that'll rub off on other people. So that's just for starter, be as sincere about what you want to do as possible. Don't create something because you think it's great. Create something because you think your audience needs it. Okay. And that's the thing that happens with a lot of businesses, where they start a product, a business, or start selling a service just because they think it's great. I think it's amazing, but they don't find out if the audience really needs it, or if the audience would like it. So that's very, very important, and figure out what the audience is looking for and then address that need and be sincere about that. I really want to help my audience, and that's why I'm creating this. Once you've done that, the other things you can do to get more validation, or the fact that people start trusting you more, is now you have the option of doing videos. Come across as someone who's an expert in the field. So one, become an expert in the field. And then when you do, let's say, do videos and send write-ups and send emails and do ebooks and do all kinds of things where people look at you as an expert in your field. Someone told me, when you're starting a business, it's an easy concept. If you want to be a great success, a runaway success, it's easy. Just be the top 5% in your industry. So if I'm starting the mortgage business, do I think that I'm in the top 5% of mortgage specialists across Canada in terms of my knowledge, or in terms of, maybe I'm not in the top 5% in terms of the volume, 100%. But in terms of the knowledge and in terms of attitude, maybe I am. So at least start with that attitude, and then you'll get to the top 5% in volume too. Because someone just said your attitude decides your altitude, right? So start with that and you'll go far, if that answered your question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanuja. And we had Mayura I, and I think we have Mayura B next, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mayura, go ahead.
So when you have you ever do you find it natural to move through different stages of marketing businesses, like go to different teams or just market for completely different companies? Or do you find that difficult?
I think it's easy, because the foundation remains the same. Whether you're marketing or selling, the foundation remains the same. And then you kind of just make certain amendments to make sure that it's customized to the needs of that particular company or that product or service. So I don't find it really hard. And as long as you've got the foundation right, you've got the concept of what segmentation and targeting is, or you've got the concept of, of how branding works, or how positioning works, or the 7 P's of marketing, or anything of that sort. You've got all of that. You've got done 90% of the work. When you just switch that company or work with a different company, it's the 10% that you add. It's like the tip of the iceberg that you have to kind of work on. Everything else, which is under the thing, is all already prepared, because you've done your work in learning about marketing.
Sorry, was the question about scaling your marketing?
Was it scaling? I think it was more about when you're training different companies or you're working with different products or services, how do you adapt? I think that was the question.
Yeah, it's just moving throughout the field.
Moving throughout different markets, or the same market, but you want to make it bigger, Mayura. Which one did you ask about?
Moving through different stages of marketing, like doing product pricing, and also moving through different companies within the marketing field.
Oh, okay, so you want to work with different industries?
Yes.
Different companies. Okay, all right, okay.
Yeah, so like I said, this is the top 10% that you want to address, and the remaining 90%, the base of it remains the same.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
That was Mayura B.
Yes.
If we want to start a business or sell a service or product, how can we advertise or convince people to be part of it?
If you're starting a business, I would say initially you'd most likely not have an advertising budget. So it is always about starting small. Like I was telling Tanuja as well, start with being sincere about what you're doing. Have your foundation rock solid, which means you know what your target market looks like. What are they looking for? What part of your product or service is going to be the most attractive to them. Once you've done that, then you can start using free tools of reaching out to people. And what are these free tools? One is making your friends and family try that product, because they can become that source of word of mouth. They'll then spread the word for you. So why don't you just do this? You've started a product and you're like, okay, my uncle, my aunt, my friends, my, other relatives, you just book some time with them and say, okay, I want to tell you about the business I've started and I want you to try my product. So that's one. Then there are so many influencers online who would try your product, because ultimately they need content too. So it's if you've got something nice, if you've got something exciting, then they'd be happy to cover it. They'd be happy to try it. So send it out to them. See who's the influencer in your industry, send it out to them, let them try your product or let them know about your product. If they find it exciting, they'll cover it. That will give you another level of reach. And once you start this cycle, where you're getting some word of mouth from your relatives and they're kind of reaching out to other people, and you're getting influencers to cover your content too, you will start building that base of customers. It's always a gradual process. And once you have the base, maybe you reinvest the money you've earned and use that towards advertising. And that's when then you scale your business. Did it make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Anyone else here with a question? I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think we're good. And we're almost on time as well. So this is awesome. So thank you so much, Mohit, for covering the, the 7 Ps. I'm sure that's very, very new. This was never covered here, but I'm not sure if some of them learned it in school. So you guys are getting some advanced information that you'll probably get only in your bachelor's when you go into university.
Exactly.
I think marketing had, at least my generation and the generation before, there wasn't that much of a focus on marketing, because it's like, oh, just put some colorful products out there and people will buy it. At least back in India or in Sri Lanka, the focus was more be technical, create a technical product, and that will sell itself. But it is not true. As you can see in the States and in Canada especially, products like Coke and Pepsi and all that, they invest a lot in marketing to bring about brand awareness. And all these sports stars and influencers, that's what they do. A majority of the income comes out of marketing and branding. I brought Mohit here to talk about product marketing, but this also works in favor of marketing yourself and becoming that brand that you want to be, and that influencer that you want to be. You can use any of the things that that Mohit talked about today in regards to segmentation. Maybe you don't want to be the Beyonce and reach the whole world, but you might want to reach out to York region and be whatever it is in York region. You want to be that specialist in York region. If you want to become a doctor, you want to be a pediatric doctor that serves the York region, and this is my specialty, and this is why I want to work with these particular patients. I want to work with autistic patients as a pediatrician. So now you've got your niche, and you don't need to have the whole pie. You just need to have a sliver of that pie, and that just amazingly it refocuses on your purpose, and you'll be making a good amount of living to get that out. So this is what Mohit has shared today. All this is a gem of information. I got a lot of notes, and I'm wondering whether I'm going to put a LinkedIn post or I have to write. I'm going to write this big document on what Mohit shared. So thank you so much, Mohit, for all this information.
Most welcome. In fact, I'll add one more thing. When you mentioned about marketing and marketing yourself, branding yourself, the beauty of today's world, which we didn't have, Anu, when we were growing up, is social media. Because the challenge is there's too much clutter on there. There's so many people trying to market, but at the same time, the platform is such a level playing field that if you've got that in you, you can compete with the biggest. I've seen smaller products rise from nowhere, but because that product was exciting, Mashable covered them, and they are an overnight success. So now it is about creating a solution that is the right fit, that is exciting, and leave the rest for that organic virtual marketing or that outreach that will happen organically for you.
And which product did you say it was?
I can't think of it, but there were a couple of other products that I was thinking. I'll share the link with you if you want. Okay. And they covered it on Mashable. Was it a baby product or something? Because that's the kind of feed that I get these days. So
yeah.
So it was a baby product that became super successful.
Yeah, one baby product which was organic. Organic, you can just drink. The kids can just drink it off of a particular packet, and people thought, what kind of organic product comes out of a packet? But now they're in Shoppers Drug Mart and they sell like crazy. And it was just a couple in Toronto who built this and went to Dragon's Den, and they got the investment, and now marketing it like crazy. So yes,
there are a couple of players in our industry. Like we have ratehub.ca. That's a player in the mortgage industry or in the finance industry for that matter. They've become so big, and they started small. It's just an online portal now, which kind of collates information about different products from different lenders and their rates. So instead of people having to hop from one lender to another and talk to different people or visit those branches, they go to ratehub.ca and get everything. And they they were covered extensively because how unique that product was, and they went to Dragon's Den too, and they became successful. So I've seen quite a few of these examples. I follow Mashables on my Instagram feed, and you'd run into so many of these products at Mashable covers, and you're like, okay, wow. And they're just startups. They've come from nowhere, and now they've become super successful.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Mohit. And
welcome.
as always, Mohit is also on LinkedIn, and you can reach out to him, connect with him, and say that you're from this class, that you're from Anu's class. And if you have any follow-up questions, which I'm sure you guys will have, not now, but especially when you work on your business and your outreach and your branding, for sure.
Absolutely. I'd love to have follow-up questions. I'd love to chat with all of you. You are free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. And if you'd like, if you think, you want to have a phone call with me, I'm open to that too. I'd love to help you all.
Thank you so much, Mohit.
You're most welcome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Take care. See you. Thank you. See you guys. Nice. Thank you, Anu. And we chat over the phone in a bit whenever you're free. Awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Mohit.
Thank you. See you. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Okay, so Ahana, Zin, and Tanya, I think you guys are good to go. There's no class on Tuesday. I sent an email to you guys about that. So I'll see you guys on September 8th. And thank you for joining this class. Yeah. All right. How did you find the session, guys? You can unmute yourself.
That's one of my favorite speakers. He's for some reason very great. Yeah.
Yeah, you did? Okay. Go ahead, Mayura. I didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry.
Oh, me? No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, Mayura, did you want to say something more?
I think maybe your computer lagged or something. I didn't say anything. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. You thought that he was a good speaker because of the content that he shared, or just the way he spoke?
I think it was just the way he spoke. It might have been the accent and something that triggered that. I've heard accents in good people.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just really for some reason sounded like family. It sounded like someone who actually cared, was talking to you and wanted to help you.
Yeah.
I think it really works. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does work because a lot of public speaking coaches, and I do this as well, some people come to me and they're like, oh, we have an accent. We need to change that accent to go up on TED stages. And I'm like, no, let's not focus on your accent. Your accent is your unique thing, right? Let's keep your accent and let's show to the world, despite your accent, you can still convey a message. And Mohit believes in that too. And that's why we get along so well, because it's about, if I as a coach had to make all of you be the same, speak, everyone has to speak like Mayura I, then no one's going to be different. We have our own unique values. And I'm so glad that resonated with you, Mayura I, because that's something that Mohit tries to do as well as myself. And is your dad in the mortgage industry as well, Mayura I?
He's also a broker, yeah.
Yeah, so you know now what he does to probably market himself. All that work that he does. Yeah. What about the rest of you? Is there something that you learned in today's class? And I'd love to hear, because I'm bringing all these speakers and I want to understand if there is value, or if there isn't. I'd like to understand maybe the type of speakers that resonate with you. So what is the one thing you learned today? Tanuja and then Nitin. I think Nitin had his hand raised. And Sindhuja and Sira.
I think for me, the main thing that I can take away is where you talked about the segmentation and targeting, because I've heard it, we've talked about it in class about your customer wants and needs, but this is the first time I've seen him go I didn't know that you really had to research that deep, go into each section and branch out into age, and I didn't realize all that. So that was a big thing that I took away.
And I brought up the whole pediatrician thing is because a lot of doctors and a lot of engineers out there, they're like, well, we're an engineer, we're a doctor. We can, I'm a pediatrician, I'm a family physician. But it makes so much of a difference when you go to a family physician who is specialized in something and specialized in a certain market, who can say, no, okay, you're coming all the way from which region again? And for what purpose? So that so that they can really focus on you and they can provide exemplary service. And I think that goes with any technical person. So I work with even doctors and engineers, and I say, let's focus on what your service is. Let's not take the whole pie. So thank you. Yeah, great energy. Nitin, you had a comment?
I forgot what I was gonna say, and then
Okay.
so I lost my question when I was about to say it.
Sindhija, you had a question?
No, it was one thing I liked about the presentation was that when he said his accent was like it would make people like more comforting. I never like realized that. Like I always thought people would like go for like the more of an like English accent.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, right? A lot of people of color are trying to move up the ladder in Canada. And if we form these communities that understand each other, we can support each other. So your accent is definitely, keep your accent. Shangeet, and then Siran, and then Mayura B.
I actually, in the 7 P's of marketing, I actually knew 5 of them, but I didn't know the place and positioning was that important.
Awesome. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, positioning is extremely important. Places, I think places rather, well, it's rather obvious to me. It's usually the place where you serve, but positioning is definitely very important. Yeah. Siran?
Yeah, I feel like I've learned how to target my audience because like even the smaller things like your accent and some of your personality things, they kind of implement the way that you're selling an object. So yeah, what I learned is like how you target someone based on your skills.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. And that'll help you again with your whatever you plan to do. I think you want to take over your dad's business is the hope. So he's got it scaled to a particular point with his locations, his 3 locations, and then you can imagine scale it to a bigger reach, right? I think he wants to also expand globally, and you can help him figure out how to segment the population and properly target them. Yeah. Mayura B?
Before this class, I always thought that marketing was just how it aesthetically looks and the price and the target audience, but the 7 P's really helped me understand what marketing is actually is and how much hard work goes into marketing.
And one thing for you, Mayura, because I know you're in part of a lot of clubs in school, and believe it or not, it is marketing that helps you get the reach that you need, right? So if you're running a fundraiser, if you're running a yearbook club, if you're running a robotics club, whatever it is, usually if you are running it, I have seen students, and I think, I've seen students who are frustrated that they don't have a club for something in their school. And teachers turn around and say, well, why don't you create that club? Oh, well, if I create the club, no one's going to come. Market it, right? You realize that there is a need for this club. So recently, I was someone reached out to me from their school, and they want to create a club for Black awareness, right? But how does Black awareness look like? And what is it that you want in that club? And then they were worried that, well, there aren't that many Black students. But okay, does that mean that it's only a Black student issue? It's also a person of color, right? People of color, we go through bullying. We face these same issues. Why do you think that, the South Asians won't be interested? Maybe it's just renaming it. Once you rename it, find out who your target market is and whom do you want to educate, and you be the leader of that and go out there and market it. So you guys can do that even in your schools. Just start creating a club if you really feel strongly about something, and then have conversations and organically build a small team that can then further educate people. That's one way of you learning about marketing. Okay. Yes, Mayura, I.
Just like a comment of how he touched upon like different languages and marketing within those. I just thought that was really cool. Like I've never heard anyone talk about that really, and I realized like how big that is. Like my dad, like he is also in the business. He's like, I know Tamil, Sinhalese, and English, and so when I get a person who's from Sri Lanka, who's from that place, I'm already connected with them. Like just knowing a language, being able to market in a language is like you're already connected with the person. It's such a conversation starter. It's really cool you touched upon that.
And I love that you touched on that, Mayra, because in school and as a kid, you're told learn many languages, but you're never told why you need to learn many languages, right? Till you get to our stage, and then you have to be a salesperson, and you realize, if I had learned a particular language, if I had learned Hindi, then I would have connected with a lot of Indians, right? Hindi is the language that's used in India. If I had learned Spanish, then maybe I could have moved to the States and connected with, Mexicans and Latin Americans, and that is my unique advantage. And that's why you need to learn another language, right? If I truly believe, if children are told why they need to learn something, it somehow resonates and go, okay, let me take this language learning a little more seriously, and then you'll open up that Duolingo app and actually start learning something, right? Just because I know I had to learn French, and I was like, why do I have to learn French? But now I'm in a business where people put in that if you learn French, if you know French, if you're fluent in French, it's an asset. They say it's an asset, but they're really looking for someone who's bilingual, right? They just say it in a job ad because they don't want to sound biased, but they are biased. They are looking. So even if I have all the qualifications, but someone else has little less qualifications than me, but can speak French, they're like, I think this person can capture a bigger target market than Anu, who can only speak English and Tamil and, a little bit of Hindi and stuff like that, right? So that's, unfortunately, Anu, we will go with this person because they can speak French, and that's our bigger target market. So thank you for touching on that. Yeah. Ashwin, yes, what's your one takeaway?
I used to think that marketing was like not that important, and I used to think that maybe like producing the actual product and manufacturing it was more important. But now I know marketing is a really big and essential for the company to make some profits.
Yeah. And if you are the technical person, start learning about marketing. But eventually, I know you want to get into business or some sort of different sort of business, or hopefully get into whatever career you want to get into. But you sound like the more technical person. Learn a little bit of marketing, and then you can outsource it to someone who's really good at marketing. So people like Mohit, they know how to market. They know all the tools to use. They keep up with the trends and all that. But there are mortgage brokers out there or real estate agents. They know about the product really well. And then they find a marketing person to cover their social media, to cover all the ads and everything. So they have a marketing consultant. But you need to make enough money to afford those people at some point, right? So you need to know about marketing. That's great. Yeah, Mother-in. Finally, Mother-in's talking.
One thing I thought was really important was the whole external and internal marketing. So like, other than like making the public aware, you have to also make your teammates as confident about the product you want to sell. Like, get everyone on board. I thought that was something important.
That is so important. Yeah, I'm glad he touched on that. The internal marketing, because and Mother-in, you are probably going to be a software engineer. You could be anything, but right now that's what you want to be. And if you don't believe in BlackBerry, if you don't believe in Apple or any other product, you're not going to be the best software engineer. You can suggest, but if you're not even, if you don't believe in that product, you're going to be like, no, this is not for me, right? So it's important if you start a company, or if you're part of a company, that you truly believe in that product, and the company spends time marketing their own products to their employees. Yeah. So out of all the speakers, which speaker resonated the most with you guys? From all the speakers from April, you guys, let's I know Mohit is today, and let's leave Mohit out. I know he was a good speaker. We got some good feedback. Let me try and see, who do you remember the most out of all the speakers?
I remember this presentation a lot.
Sorry?
I remember Geeta. I believe that's her name.
Who?
Geeta.
Geeta, yes. She covered emotional intelligence and all that?
The fixed mindset, growth mindset, that one.
Yeah. And you liked it because?
I don't know. I guess she was really, since she came from like India as well, and she's Tamil too. It's like very easy to connect with her and relate to her.
Sorry, you're from India, are you, Mayura?
I mean, not India, but like India, Sri Lanka, like Tamil.
Okay. All right, perfect. Yes, Mayura, I?
I'm not a good like names person, so I usually forget the names. But the presentation of entrepreneurship,
David
yeah,
Kwok?
David Koch there. That one really resonated with me. I think it was just the way he spoke, like it was very like casual, and it was a conversational kind of presentation. And those are the things that resonated with me most. And then also whoever had the stop button of like stop.
Otini.
Oh, right.
Otini.
Otini.
Yes, that was those two really resonated with me.
And because she talked about negotiation or because the way she presented?
Both actually.
Okay.
Yeah, just her presentation was really like capturing as well, but the situation of negotiation, like I could connect to it really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, Tanuja?
Well, personally, I found it extremely hard to choose, but I think one that I remember and resonates with me was Asma about the soapbox presentations.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I just felt like her presentation was really engaging, and that it was like really exciting the whole time. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What about the rest? Sorry, Mayura, 1 second. I'll just ask everyone and then I'll come back to you. Yeah. Nitin, who was your favorite speaker?
David.
David?
I think, yeah.
Why?
Because like I liked how he spoke to it. I forgot the name. You said there's one, the person with the questions, the one that did the interactive one. I forgot the name.
What did they talk about?
It was a while back, like at the middle of class, I think.
Where we could design, we each got a little square.
Yeah.
And switch the colors around, design what we wanted.
Also going to say that person too, Shahana.
Yeah.
Shahana.
Okay, Sahana. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like more interactive to like a person, so like we would make more like into it more.
Nice. Sindhija? Sindhija, who did you think?
Mine, I don't remember his name, but it was the guy that was talking about like different like skin tones and
Denley.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, him.
Yeah. Okay. Is it because you feel very strongly about that, or?
Yeah, because I feel really strongly about that, and it's a very important like subject we should be like focusing on. And he was just like, it made it interesting when he was talking about it.
Yeah, I started watching Raising Dion with my kids because of that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, awesome. Shangeet?
I like Denley and also the one that was talking about the fitness.
Shah.
Yeah, Shah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're a very fitness oriented person. Yeah. Awesome. Siron?
I would say I would like I like David Kwok as well, because I don't know, like I was able to connect more with what he was saying.
Yeah, because you want to become an entrepreneur eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Motherin and then Kavya?
The two that stood out to me were Asma and David Kwok. I think like their presentation really good and like interactive. Like with David Kwok, I remember he was talking about like how to make like bath time shorter and more efficient. Like I remember that from a while back, and Asma's presentation was also really interesting.
Nice. Okay. Sorry, what time was shorter?
Like reducing bath times to save water.
Oh, okay.
Something he asked us about.
I thought I heard bath times, and I'm like, bath time? Okay, yeah, saving water, yeah, because of that product. I forgot the name of the product, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Kavya?
If I had to choose, I really liked Asma and Denley. I was like passionate about those topics, and they were really engaging, conversational kind of. So I like those.
Okay, awesome. Ashwin?
I really like David Paul because how interactive he was, and the way he spoke just like connected with me.
Dahlia, did you hear any other speakers? Like, who are the speakers? I know Yulia, you heard Mohit. Did you hear anyone else, Dahlia?
No.
No?
No. I heard Supa, but other than
Sorry, who?
I heard Supa, but other than that, I never heard anyone.
Oh, yes, the UNICEF. Yes, Suba. So who did you feel out of the three?
Maybe Danley.
Sorry?
Danley.
Denley?
Yeah.
Oh, you heard him? You were there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. That's awesome. It's awesome. Sorry. So Mayura B, you had a question? And then Tanuja, you had a question?
I was just going to ask, like, how many guest speakers did we have in total?
Ha.
It seems like a lot.
Yeah, maybe I should create a poll so that you guys can remember all the guest speakers.
I'm pretty sure it's 21. I'm not sure.
I think we had once a week, except for
Yeah.
the week when Anthony was away.
Sorry?
No, like
Yeah.
2 weeks. Plus 2
No,
weeks.
it was only like from April, I started bringing guest speakers every week, except, yes, Mayura is right, except for the week that I wasn't there, because I'm not comfortable bringing a speaker when I'm
Yeah.
not there.
And the beginning of class, and then the interviews. We didn't get. Oh yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
at that time, we weren't sure if, like, the
counted.
speakers thing started off because you guys said that you were interested in bringing a speaker, you know, and I was just trying to get speakers in. I think we decided that after the LinkedIn class.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So after that is when, and that's why I think it was around April that we decided, okay, I'll bring speakers, but never thought that I would be getting a speaker every week. But it sounds like I have speakers up till November, first week now.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's the next speaker is going to be talking about the art of selling, and she goes around giving speeches and training workshops and all that. About how to make sales. And she actually runs her own company as well in the Markham region. A good sought out speaker. I think she's also going to be speaking in September at another conference, at another virtual conference. So I will send that information to you, Mayura, because I know you're the chair. It won't be next Sunday. It will be the following Sunday, because next Sunday you guys are all off. Yay!
Oh no, we don't get class.
Yeah. Right, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
The thing is, why can't my birthday party be next week instead of today? Because there's class today and no class next week.
So you are actually having a birthday party?
Yeah.
Is it your birthday today?
No,
Was
my
on
birthday
Thursday.
was last Thursday, I think.
Oh, last Thursday? I thought it was this Thursday.
No, not
And
like
he
this
mentioned his
last
birthday
week,
on the
Thursday,
week
last
you
Thursday.
were away.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The 18th?
20th.
Well, happy
Thursday, sorry, yeah.
happy belated birthday, Nathan. How old are you turning?
I
24?
turned 13.
You turned 13.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you're a teenager. You're Mayura's group.
It's not fun.
Mayura I's group. Is there any other teenagers here? Yeah, my mother.
Nathaniel won't like you anymore.
Shangit, you're a teenager? Hey, I like teenagers, okay? I can pick on them much easily. You know, they were like, yeah, okay, whatever.
I'd rather be a kid though. I'd rather be a kid than a teenager. Like reading was way easier.
There's a reason, Mayura I, that I don't teach little kids iLeap. I think I'll scar them. Like, this is how it's going to get done. You know, whereas I see the people who teach the junior group and they're holding hands and playing Ringa Ringa Roses. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. So it's good. That's why I pick on you guys.
The games we used to play was like the sitting on each other ones, the get around the hands. Do you remember those ones?
The chair one?
The chair one, yeah.
Yeah, that was
musical chairs.
That was in that class with me.
Was it musical chairs? It's like a simple.
It wasn't musical chairs. It was a trust-based game. So
Yeah, I saw that video on your YouTube channel. I saw Mayura I in like the morning side class on.
Yeah.
and they all fell.
I think Madhuran did it, right?
Sorry?
I think at the Scarborough one, Madhuran and like Kavi and them, they did it
No,
successfully.
it was just him.
Me, the other Kavi, I think, Vidhu and
Kabin.
Kabinan.
Yeah. And then in the Morningside one, we also, not the Morningside, in the Finch one, Tanuja, we did the delegation one, the delegation game. Remember, Madhuran was like, he went up in front and he tried to tell you what the blocks were that he was seeing, and you guys were all squabbling, and then we learned how to delegate the work properly, and then he got it.
I don't think
Yes,
I was
ma'am.
there for that one, the
Oh, you
class or
weren't?
something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was that game. Yeah, so this is good. This is good. And then I have to figure out how we can play games here as well. But then with our guest speakers, I think a lot of the time has been taken. So I'm not, I still have to get to case studies. All right, so we are at 2:40, and I know we only have one speaker, right, for today? If I'm not mistaken, Dahlia is the speaker.
I think so, yeah.
So why don't we go with that? We'll go with that, and if we have, I don't think we'll have time for a case study. So then we'll revisit next class. But I also, before Dahlia gives the speech, I also, since you guys have 2 weeks before we meet next class, I was hoping we can do the 1-minute videos as something for next class, where we can actually create 1-minute videos, and then you can post it on YouTube, and then we can watch those 1-minute videos and give evaluations. Would that, because you have 2 weeks, would that work? Yes, Mayura B, and then Mayura I.
What are the 1-minute videos about?
So one of the things that Mohit, and it's going to be very important for you guys, is how you brand yourself, that elevator pitch. It can be about a product, it can be about a skill. So in your case, Mayor B, if you want to talk about one thing about emotional intelligence, why that is important for someone, or mental health, and one thing that you can do to improve mental health in 1 minute. I know it's hard. It is very hard to create a 1-minute video, but let's try, right? Let's see if that message comes across. So you capture people's attention really fast in a minute. If it's a product that you want to sell, if it's a book club that you want to start on something.
So
right?
it's basically an elevator pitch?
Sure, yeah, it is an elevator. It can be an elevator pitch about who you are. I'm leaving it open. So this particular module is about study skills. So if that's the idea, just like last time it was about health and wellness, this module is about study skills. So a 1-minute video on how people can learn about speeches and memorize their speeches and deliver it. Like, what is that tip? If you guys are interested, and if you guys have time, there's this guy, and I'll put it in the chat. His name is Jim Quick, and he focuses, and his podcasts are 15 minutes, but in 15 minutes, he will tell you how to improve your brain in some sort of function. It could be how to memorize a grocery list, how to memorize a speech, right? He has 15-minute videos or 15-minute podcasts. And my challenge to you is, if you are working on study skills, how to improve your study skills, if you can create a 1-minute video on how to improve your study skills. If you go to 2 minutes, I'll be okay, but the challenge is 1 minute, right? Really, just one thing that you want the audience to learn about and deliver it in 1 minute. And take a video, and if you can, put it on a link, or otherwise send it to me and I'll upload it in my, you can send it to me. I will upload it on my link. But when you're sending it to me, please don't send it to me right on that Sunday, because I can't upload it on that Sunday. So if you want me to upload it on my link, then, and the reason I need it to be uploaded is because you guys are all going to watch it at that point, and then we're going to give evaluations, right? And that's why I need it to be on a YouTube link or something. Does that make sense? So next class is not on September 6th, but it is on September 13th. We're going to have a speaker, and then
I have a question.
And the 1 second, Nathan. And then the rest of the hour, if we can focus on all these videos, then that'll be great. Yeah. Yes, Tanuja, then Mayura I, then Mayura B, then Nitin. Yes.
Okay, wait. So I have two questions. So can the video basically be about anything?
It can. It
Like-
can be about anything. I mean,
Mhm.
I'm opening it to you guys. I don't want to. What do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer for me to give you, or do you guys prefer for you guys to choose a 1-minute video? Again, it has to be something persuasive, something that you're calling to action. Everything that we learned, it's not just, hey guys, this is me and I'm on video and I'm supposed to speak for 1 minute. So I know none of you are going to do that, but it has to incorporate call to action, character, conflict. It's hard to do the character conflict, but if you can, watch 1-minute videos. Just Google 1-minute videos. You'll be amazed at the number of people who post 1-minute videos and capture content. And the best place is LinkedIn, because a lot of people post 1-minute videos on LinkedIn because they need to capture the audience attention immediately.
So it just has to be like any sort of persuasive video, right?
Yeah, any sort of persuasive video in 1 minute.
And then
Join my book club.
And then do we have to post it like on our own YouTube account or something, or can we just share it to you?
You can share it to me and I'll post it on my YouTube account. Just, you need to give me 3-4 days to upload, because it's all of you.
Okay.
So I need time to upload it. So for September 13th, I would prefer the video by September 10th.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get all your videos by September 10th, I can upload it and then we can all watch it.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, rather than me forwarding a chunk of videos to you guys and go, okay, look at this, look at this, look at this. It's better if it's there. Yeah. Sorry, who did I say was next? Mayura I, right? Yeah.
So with this thing, this speech, could we answer a question? Like, can we say, why do we do this, and then give information, or does it need to like be persuasive?
Sorry, why, can you give me an example? Maybe I'm not understanding the question.
Like, why do we wake up so late? And then give like an answer of why we do that with facts and different like stories and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
That's good. Okay, and then also, have you like seen TikToks?
Yep.
Okay, so those are 1 minute.
I've been on my daughter's TikToks.
Okay. Can we format it like that? Like, I know people like run in through a door and they like bounce in different frames and to keep the audience attention, or does it have to be like formal stuff there?
No. Videos can be creative. So you've got all the creativity that you can. And I definitely want to see you do that, Mayura I. Okay, 2 weeks to do that. So for sure. Yeah. Mayura B?
Can you give some like ideas on what we can talk about?
So the ideas would be, like I mentioned, Jim Quick. You can look him up for how to improve your mindset, how to improve your brain capacity, if that's what you're interested in. If you are running a book club and you want people to join that book club, what is it that you want people to, why do you want people to join that book club? If you are doing an elevator pitch about yourself, me, Mayura, who am I and what can I do for the world, right? These are things. The elevator pitch is actually 15 seconds, but you can make it a minute, right? But this is Mayura and this is what I can do for you. And that's also something that, have I given you good enough information?
Yep, thank you.
Yeah. Ashwin, Nitin and then Ashwin.
You know how you said the video had to be on a YouTube link? How do you like do that? Because some parents.
So you can send me, Nitin, you can send me the video like you sent the last video. Just send me the video and then I can upload it on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah. Just send it to me on September 10th, please.
Oh, would it be okay if I upload it to my channel? Because I created.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine.
I just
totally
don't know
fine.
how to. So you can later tell me.
You'll have to Google that.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy. If you Google it, you can find that information on how to upload on YouTube. But if you're having difficulty, then on September 10th, please send it to me and then I can upload it as well. And I'll post it on my, depending on how strong your 1-minute pitches are, I can definitely share it on LinkedIn. I can definitely share it on my posts as well. Okay, and give you as much coverage or as much media as possible from my community. Ashwin?
So we send the video on September 10th or before that or like
Yeah,
that?
before September 10th.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there like a maximum minimum date? Like
Before September 10th.
okay.
Yeah. Sindhuja?
Since you said it has to be like a persuasive video, can we like try selling an object?
For sure. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Anything persuasive, right? Yeah. And you're into cooking, Sindhuja. So if you can persuade people to cook in this day and age, you're a genius. Yes, Myra B. And then we'll get to Dahlia to speak. Yes.
Now, I was just going to ask if we're going over the case study homework today.
Well, I don't think we'll have time for that. So for next class, we'll be doing the video. I know I asked you guys to think about the bullying, the bullying case study, and I know Mayura gave a really good answer, and I wanted to share that. It's just we're running out of time, and I feel really bad. But I also want to give Dahlia a chance to speak because she hasn't spoken in our class. So let's park that. I don't think the case study can be done next class because we're doing the video thing. But maybe the class after that, would that be good, Mayura B? September 20th?
I don't really care if we do the case study or not.
Okay. Yeah, but we do need to touch on case studies because you guys are going to get a lot of case studies as part of your interview process. It's just we're running out of time. So if you can remind me on September 20th for that. And why don't I go ahead? Can I share your answers to everyone?
Okay.
Or did you? Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Why don't I'll message you and we'll talk about it, Mayra. Okay? All right. So with that, why don't we give Dahlia an opportunity to do her speech and then we'll do her evaluation as well. So go for it, Dahlia.
Why are some people always on their devices? Good afternoon, Ms. Anu, Chair, and ILE Club members. Today, I'll be talking about people's endless amount of screen time and why should they not be on a device for too long. Nowadays, during quarantine, people are doing something to keep them busy. One way is being somehow connected to the internet. Some people are on their devices for endless amount of time. Based off, you will never really get this amount of time to yourself or with your family. You should do something with yourself, like find out more about who you are and your inner personality. Discover things that you like and you don't like. Spend some time with your family and understand each other more. Secondly, your eyesight will get worse. From the screen heat, it comes to your eyes, and that's how your eyes normally get worse. And that's the reason why people wear glasses. Lastly, it's your health. You won't really do any exercise and you need to move your body in order to pump blood. The blood also needs to circulate around your body as well. You'll also become lazy and it will be hard for you when you go back to school. There are many reasons why should people be off their devices other than these 3 reasons I mentioned today. This is why I think people should not be on the devices for too long. Thank you.
I don't know if the iTimer caught the amount of time that took.
It's 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah. So good job, Dahlia. It's 1 minute, 20 seconds. So that would be an I think on my feet kind of speech where it's 1 minute 45, which is also less, right? So Mayura B, how long should a speech be?
Maximum 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes.
Okay, so maximum 4 minutes. So let's work on the speech and make it longer. So you guys heard her speech. I'm going to ask each one of you to maybe evaluate and give Dahlia something based on everything that we learned. And remember, Dahlia missed our class on the 5 C's. So you can also share with her maybe one of the C's and how she can improve her speech based on the 5 C's. So who would first like to explain to her about the 5 C's? Yeah, Tanuja, go ahead.
Okay, wait, can you guys hear me? I'm not wearing headphones.
Yeah, I can hear
It's
you.
kind of
Oh,
loud
okay.
on my side.
Can
So I'll
hear you.
put the volume.
Okay, so basically, the 5 C's is a concept that you use to tell a story in a speech, right? So the 5 C's is an acronym, and so the first C should each one of us say one C, or do I say all 5?
You guys, she's asking you a question.
You guys
You
want
can say all 5, I guess.
Okay, so the first C is basically character, and this is where you start off. It's the beginning of the story, and you explain the characters. I don't really know what else to say, but you want to explain them in detail, and then after that, it is it conflict? Conflict, yeah. So the conflict is basically the problem of the story. Then you move on to here. Is it here? Yeah, it's here. So the cure is basically the solution to the problem, and then change is change. So what happened? What's the difference from before and now? And then the carry out message. The carry out message is like, I guess, sort of. It could be like a quote you say at the end of the story to sum it all up. It's sort of like the message you want your audience to take away. But what Anya told us to do is, she said, make sure your carry out message is not more than 10 words, because otherwise the audience won't remember it. And that's basically the 5 C's.
Dahlia, did you? Yay! Dahlia, did you have any? Is there the 5 C's? I'm sure you have questions on that. So can you ask any question that you have on the 5 C's?
Is she frozen for anyone else?
Oh.
I think she's frozen.
I'm pretty sure she's frozen.
Oh. She was...
Unless she just standing there.
That would be good acting skills, and I should bring her up for acting skills.
Probably frozen.
Okay, so if you were to tell her an area of improvement in her speech, right? So what would it be? Yes, Mayura.
Okay. So I was taking down evaluations as well.
Yeah.
So I think her pace was really good. Like, it was steady, so I liked that. But her just fluctuation in her tone could really be improved. Just to keep it more, upbeat, light, and engage the audience. And her structure was also really good. I liked that. And her points were very clearly stated, but she could elaborate more a lot. And just give more facts with each point, maybe give a story of personal experience.
Yeah. And
she frozen.
Mayura is frozen now. Yeah, she's frozen.
Sorry?
She's frozen. Mayura's frozen.
Mayura froze.
Everyone's freezing now.
One by one.
Speaks and then they freeze.
Wow.
And you're being taken out one by Zoom.
That's a scary thought. It feels like Stephen King is here. Okay. All right. So if there is one, if she had to incorporate one of the 5 C's, right? How could she incorporate that in this? How could she introduce a character maybe?
She could talk about a personal experience, like of herself, if she's spending too much time, or what she's doing to keep herself busy that doesn't involve like going on screens all the time.
So if you were to listen to it, now you guys are a little more advanced, right? If you were to listen to this, does this sound like a speech which is motivating you to make change? Or does it sound like a lecture that your parents would give you? Stay off. Stay off the cell phone because it's not good for you. Why aren't you doing something legendary for this world? You can be brutally honest just because she's not here, so.
I mean, this is my first time hearing her speech, so I'd say it's like really good, but it's more on the informational side than persuasive.
Right, it is more on the informational lecture side than the persuasive motivational side. So as advanced speakers, when you start listening, you will also start comparing how your parents speak to you, how your teachers speak to you, how motivational speakers speak to you. There are some teachers and there's some parents who can inspire change. So when you're trying to inspire change, what is that one element? And I think I spoke about it. Usually as toddlers, we ask this 3-letter word question. It starts with a W.
Why?
Yeah, why? Why shouldn't I eat a chocolate? Why shouldn't I have Coke every single day, right?
We
And you're
still
like,
do
just,
that.
sorry?
We still do that.
Exactly, right? And what are you told when you're, most people, maybe your parents are pretty awesome and they sit down and explain it to you, but.
No.
Okay.
You're like,
So,
why you keep on asking why? Why you keep on asking why?
right. Because you as individuals need to know why, right? Like, what's wrong with Coke? Because it's got so much sugar. Okay, why? So what's wrong with sugar? Well, sugar causes, your brains to so usually how it's explained is having too much sugar can make you all excited and anxious, and it causes these chemical changes in your brain, right? It resonates to different people in different ways. So how can she make her speech, which kind of now sounds very informative and lecture style, to be more persuasive? So one thing she can introduce is, like Dana just said, is a story of an individual, right? A story of an individual that comes out of COVID doing nothing, or someone who came out of COVID connecting. What is the one thing that you guys are hoping to come out of COVID, right? When you guys are released into this world, what are you hoping that people see a change in you? Are you hoping that people see some sort of a change, or people ask you, oh, there's some difference in you?
They've already seen that in me.
Sorry?
Wait, when did Sanjeet join?
Me too.
I'm so
Sorry?
confused. I just hear Sanjeet's voice out of nowhere.
Sorry, what did Shangeet say?
He said they already noticed that in him,
Oh, what was it that they noticed?
that he grew a lot.
Yeah. Wait, when did they join though? That's why I'm confused.
He was there for some time. So
I'm so
Shangeet, okay,
confused.
so you said people notice that you grew up, but in your personality, are you hoping that you guys learned something through COVID that you'd like to share with the world? Tanuja, you shook your head. So what is it?
Well, for me, one thing I've been like, I guess I learned through COVID is to embrace like nature more, and like going outside and just, relaxing and embracing Mother Nature. That's one thing I guess I experienced more, and I'm grateful for it. That I feel like we wouldn't have done this. Like, how a lot of more people are going on hikes and walks. I feel like people wouldn't be doing that if this didn't happen. So I feel like we should take this on as we move forward and get out of the lockdown.
Right. Excellent. And Siron?
I feel like throughout COVID, we've learned how to fix our problem of boredom. Because before, once we got home, we'd be like, oh, I'm so bored. I have nothing to do. But once COVID started, you had to do something, or else you would just be sitting in bed. So then we started to learn how to solve our problems with boredom and what we could do in our free time.
Right. Awesome. Mayura, I?
I'd like add to Sharon's thing, just with boredom, I've learned to do more like artistic things. Like I've bought a bunch of canvases and I like learned more art. So like different skills that I wouldn't have used I learned that from COVID, I guess.
Right. Awesome. And Mayura B?
Just like how Theron and Mayura I said, we can't always stay bored, and we have to do something productive. So I've been learning new skills, and I don't like art at all, but during COVID I've done some art, and I'm getting
Yeah.
it, I guess. And same with coding. At the beginning, I wasn't a big fan of coding. I didn't really like going to classes, but now at home, since I have more time, I can practice more coding, and I like to code now.
That's awesome. And Shangeet, you had your hand raised too.
Yeah, it's the same what Myra said.
Okay. So look at the majority of her audience. The majority of her audience actually learned through COVID because her speech was about screen time during COVID, right? That's what she was talking about. That her assumption was people were watching screens more, which is possibly true, but she's talking to an audience who has done more than screen time. So how can she change her speech to connect with you? First of all, she would have to do, I mean, of course, if you are giving the speech on TED Talk, you would have to do audience analysis. You have to do a lot of research on your audience, because the last thing you want to be is on top of a stage talking to 100 people who are like you guys, who are like, no, I don't watch screen all the time. I'm actually out hiking. I'm actually out coding. I'm actually out doing drawings and pushing my comfort. So who is she talking about? So she's lost her audience there, right? So there's a lot of audience research that goes into these kind of conversations. Like, what did you do during COVID? Did you spend the majority of your time? You don't ask the question. You ask an open-ended question saying, hey, what did you do during COVID? And then you get answers like this. Your speech will change then. Your speech will be like, you start with hiking, connecting with Mother Nature, learning coding, bringing out the creative self in you. These are the things that you can bring to the world during COVID, right? And let me talk through how you can do that. Might resonate better with you because you're like, yeah, I've done that, right? Rather than screen time. Do you see how you can shift your speech with doing audience analysis? That's so important in this class, especially and that's why it's very important to network with each other and understand what your audience really wants to hear. You guys are at that stage. Do you understand what because I'm seeing a lot of lost faces as well. Do you understand what I'm saying? You guys as a class know each other, and it's very important to know what your motivations are, because now your speech has to be elevated to that level where you're giving a speech, not just because I'm telling you to give a speech, but because you want to make the people here move, right? Persuade them to do something. Persuade them to listen to Jim Quick, who can make your world more fascinating, make your brain grow bigger, make you do really well in high school, make you, understand your purpose in life and all those things. So that's kind of the speeches that I'm hoping that you guys would bring to class and can really start delivering now. Do you understand what I mean? So this is kind of the evaluation I would give her, because the assumption she made is that a lot of people just watch the tablet. Yes, Mayor B?
As you said, I think she could also change her speech to having, like, instead of reducing your screen time, maybe having a more productive screen time, because there can also be people that have maybe like 8 hours on their screen time, but maybe the whole day they're on Zoom calls during meetings or something. Maybe how to have a productive screen time could also be a suggestion.
Yes, that's phenomenal. How to convert your screen time to being very productive, right? Or not totally eliminating screen time, but exactly that. How to convert it to a productive screen time, and how to still keep your eyes intact, right? If you can, because that was one of her points.
Because during COVID, it's like screen time has definitely gone up because we can't go in person. We're in like Zoom calls or Hangout calls or something.
Exactly. Yep. And that's what I want you to give as evaluation. So Mayura, when you were talking about areas that she can focus on, points that she can focus on, this is exactly what you bring, like a specific thing. Mayura B, for example, said, you talked about screen times, reducing screen times, but how about talking about making it more productive? Suggest those things. As an evaluator, this is how you evaluate, and so that she has something to take, some subject that she can take and then expand on it as well. Or you can even talk about, Mayrai, when you give her an evaluation, most of this class has done hiking, what other activities should kids of our age be doing, right? What is it that motivates us, right? Is, learning coding, for example, motivates us, or learning how to draw motivates us. So suggest some sites that we can go to, some free tools, some free sites. This is how she can expand on her speech, and this is how she can she can look upon as an expert. Right now, Dahlia is not the expert in the speech. How can she move to becoming an expert in that area that we all trust and that we all want to listen? And that's the kind of feedback that we need to give to our speakers, okay?
Okay, yeah.
Mayrai, did you have a question?
No, I was gonna also suggest like Mayur B said, instead of, you know, channeling their screen time to something different like that, which is a great idea. I was gonna say structure it, like make a schedule of when you're allowing yourself to have screen time,
Yeah.
and when you're allowing yourself to go and do other things like you were talking about, like hiking, arts, whatever that is.
Yep. Awesome. All right. So with that, I know we are at 3:06. So I will see you guys in 2 weeks. Please, September 10th, please send your videos, your 1-minute videos. Just and please do not have a script. For a 1-minute video, no script. I don't want you to be looking down. Certainly do not be looking down at have your camera down and be speaking to it. It should be up. You should be looking at it and you should know your script. All right. And don't sound, and please watch your video and you evaluate yourself and say, do I sound like I memorized the speech? I should sound natural. I should sound like a natural speaker. Am I naturally speaking? Am I using my hands? Am I using my body? Right? That's very, very important. It's a 1-minute video, guys. It shouldn't take you that long to come up with just one idea and just talk about it, right? And that's what's important. All right. So look forward to that. Have a wonderful long weekend, and I shall see you September 13th.
Thank you.
Okay. See ya. Bye.
Hashtag Corona's no more.
I don't know about that.